So, hi folks, this is Kim Macleod here from Indie Authors World, and I am so happy today that I've managed to grab 5 minutes with the absolutely wonderful David Hamilton, who has recently just produced this wonderful book, The 5 Side Effects of Kindness. And we're going to have a wee chat this morning just around the benefits of kindness and tip off you lot about something that we've got coming up next week. So, good morning, David.
Hi, Kim, and thanks for that very kind introduction. It's always good to see your smiling face. You always make me smile.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. We've known each other for quite a few years now, and I won't share the story. I think if somebody looks back some of the videos that I've recorded before, I'm sure that there's a wee recording of how we actually how I found you and we got connected a while ago. But what I want to kind of talk a wee bit about this morning is the power of kindness. Our story, obviously, of what happened to us after our son died and all the kindness that we received, I know is in that book that you've just produced and in your last book as well. So I know personally what it's like to be on the receiving end of a lot of kindness. But you've written this book really to help people understand that kindness has got some side effects. So do you want to kind of just give us a wee brief tour of sort of what are the 5 side effects of kindness?
Well, first of all, a side effect is, it gets a bad name through, the side effects of drugs, but that's just, I used to work in the pharmaceutical industry, as you know, but a side effect really is just defined as something that happens alongside that which is intended. So you're intending to be kind to help someone. So there happen to be 5 side effects, things that happen alongside. The first one is that kindness makes you happier. And I think that's a no-brainer. I think everyone has had that experience, that you feel a little bit better inside when you help someone. There's a lot of reasons why that happens. For some people, it's a spiritual act. For other people, if you want to go right down to the neurology of it, it does actually fiddle about with your brain chemistry. That connection you feel through kindness, it does actually elevate particular biochemicals in the brain, if you really want to get down to the nuts and bolts. But the second side effect is that kindness is good for your heart. And again, that's because psychologists often talk about that feeling of elevation, which is a term used to describe that feeling of that warm feeling inside about the rightness of kindness. It may be because you feel grateful because someone's helped you, or you feel a warmth of connection with a person or the animal, for example, if you've helped an animal. And it's called elevation. But what elevation does is it turns on a little tap in your arteries. And out of that tap comes a little hormone that actually sweeps the crap out of the arteries. To use the technical pharmacological term, it sweeps the crap out of the arteries. And there's lots of research showing exactly how that takes place. It literally, rebalances cholesterol to an extent. It literally gets rid of a high percentage of the stuff left to its own devices can lead to cardiovascular disease. So there's a lot of good things that happen in the heart when you feel that connection that kindness brings. The third side effect is that kindness slows the aging process. Now, there are lots of different processes of aging. And when I say processes of aging, it's a bit distinct from saying, the brain is what you think with and the heart is technically what you feel with. You don't have an aging organ. But what you do have is underlying processes that give the appearance of aging on the outside and the inside. So these are called processes of aging. It turns out that some of the molecules of kindness, as I call them, people talk about stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline kind of thing. So when you get stressed, the feeling of stress turns on a little tap and out comes these stress hormones. So I call these, the opposite is molecules of kindness. It's the little molecules that are produced in the body when you feel that connection that kindness and compassion actually bring. Now, some of these molecules of kindness act directly on some of these underlying processes of aging. In fact, a recent study looking at the formation of wrinkles in the skin is, broadly speaking, the same process that causes wrinkling in an apple. If you leave an apple on the table for a fortnight, it wrinkles, isn't it? That's called oxidation. Scientists, it's actually particularly called oxidative stress, and it's caused by things called free radicals. It's exactly the same process in our skin. Fortunately, we don't wrinkle in a fortnight at the table.
That's good.
Good to know. The process in humans is substantially slower, right? But it's the same process at the end of the day. recent research into looking at that process found that a little hormone called oxytocin dramatically slows it down. Now, oxytocin is one of the molecules of kindness. So you be kind, that connection itself floods the arteries with oxytocin, but it gets to the skin and it actually slows down the formation of wrinkles, the actual aging process. Amazing breakthrough in science, isn't it?
So we could save all this money on all these fancy creams and everything else that folks spend money on, and just go out there and be kind to somebody then, and that would have a better impact. Someone,
absolutely. But someone said to me, that can't possibly be right. There's no way that I've been kind all my life, for example, the person said. And I said, look, think about it. What happens to the skin when someone is really aggressive and angry? Mm-hmm. It wrinkles faster, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes people who are really, really angry and aggressive, you can see the lines etched in their face over, decades. We're talking about decades, not a fortnight, but, it takes a long time in humans, but you can see it. And it's because the hostility particular is called express contempt, and that turns off the molecules of kindness taps. So what happens is you're not getting the protection from them, and that's why hostility, aggression, and anger over decades can actually age the skin faster, because you're not getting that effect on the skin. So the opposite effect is being kind actually puts the antioxidants, as it's called, into the skin. So it's an amazing breakthrough, but that's one of the 7 processes of aging.
And we could spend a whole lot of time here, talking about all this, because I love the fact that you give us the science behind this as well. I think that's why, like I've said to you, I think I should be an agent for you, because a number of the books I've tell people to go and read David's books. If you haven't read any of his books before, you must go and work your way through the whole catalogue of wonderful books that he's written, because you give people that understanding, not just about something that might seem logical, but you help us understand some of the science behind it, which is really helpful.
Thanks, Kim. So, I'll just briefly tell you what the other 2 side effects are. Number 4 is that kindness improves relationships, and I think we've all had that experience. You tend to hang out with people more that you like, who are nice to you. It's a no-brainer. I mean, there's lots of research into it, but I think it's a kind of no-brainer. But the relationships that you form, and this is where it really begins to affect the business world, because when you help people, you form better relationships, and what it actually does is it relaxes people. Helpfulness relaxes people. Studies show that it makes you more creative, and at the end of the day, it's actually a good thing for businesses, because it helps them to, long-term, it can affect the bottom line, because people are more friendly, happier in their business, and more creative. That's got to be a win-win at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the things definitely we'll pick up on once you've done the last kind of side effect, if you like, because I think, that whole notion that we're keen to be talking about is what we're going to be doing in our business, but what we want to encourage other businesses to do. So thank you for sharing that. We'll come back to that in just a wee second. So what's the last side effect then? The last side effect
isn't so much a health thing. It's healthy for the world. It's kindness is contagious. It has a ripple effect. You drop a pebble in a pond and it creates little waves. At the other side of the pond, a wee lily pad goes like that. But the reason it's doing that is because of the wave, and the wave is created by the pebble. So it's a good term used to describe what happens when you be kind. And we can see that happening in life. Scientists have actually measured that the fanning out effect of the wave, and found that one act of kindness can literally affect hundreds of people, through the fact that one person who feels better because you helped them then goes on and is nicer to maybe 3 or 4 people, which might just be holding a door or making a smile or saying something nice. But each of these people that they're nicer to, in turn, are nicer to 2 or 3 other people. And we get this fanning out of the wave effect. It can actually affect several hundred people from an individual act of kindness. So there's ripple effects of kindness. Yeah. Kindness is contagious. And that's the bit that I absolutely love, I think, David. I think when you just see, I know even that if I'm doing stuff like, driving down the road this morning, drop my daughter at school, coming back, and there's all this queue of people trying to get out at a junction, and just even stopping and letting somebody out in front of you. Yeah. The impact that can have, because suddenly think, oh, you feel good. She's like, oh, that's nice, I've let them out, and they're just like, oh, thank you. Not everybody's a so and so that would let you in. They give you a wee wave, and you go, you wave back at you. There's a wee smile. And you've nailed it, because that little exchange actually changes some of the biochemistry. That little exchange actually begins to open up the taps that flood the molecules of kindness into the arteries. It exerts such an effect on the arteries and such an effect on the aging process. It's those little things that happen multiple times a day.
Yeah. So I think what we're wanting to just have very briefly, I know that you've got to run off. You're such a busy man. Yeah, we decided the other day, Sinclair and I say we, he goes out to go and do something, comes back in, and I said, let's talk about, I've been talking about doing this really well. It's like, well, we're going to do this. We've decided to start what you were putting in your book was a 7-day kindness challenge. We decided to start one for our business, for Indie Authors World. And really because I am a huge fan of kindness. I'm a huge fan, as you know, of creating more happiness in the world and that ripple effect and, building connections. And it's something that we've kind of put at the heart of our business anyway. I think that we generally, really support everybody that we work with, and we try our best to be really kind, but it's almost taking that extra step. It's absolutely kind of deciding that we're going to do something extra over and above what we normally do. So the challenge is to step up and do something extra. And the big thing is that we're going to give away a publishing prize.
Oh, lovely.
So we're going to give someone the opportunity to win a publishing deal with us. So we'll pay for the publishing costs. And we want people to nominate somebody that perhaps could not afford really to get their book out there. Somebody who may have written a really good story, or they've been really kind, they're just a good person. You've seen them, really maybe triumph over adversity, or whatever it is, it can be, or you can nominate yourself as well, so we've created a page up on our website, on indieauthorsworld.com. You'll see the link there, and we're going to be, the competition will officially open next Monday, which is the International Day of Happiness, and it's going to run we're going to leave it open for a month, because I think just to give people a chance to kind of come in and do a bit of kind of nominating, just to help somebody else win something that's going to be really valuable to them. And for me, it's the ripples in the pond that can create.
Yeah.
Because getting your book done, getting your first book. I know you self-published your very first book.
First book.
Yep. And getting your book out there, the impact that can have by reading it and other people reading it, other people being inspired by what you write, and how good it can help you to feel when you've got your book in your hand. How does it still feel for you when you get your latest book in your hand, for example?
It feels a bit. Oh, can I check this out? Right, I was cleaning out the attic. Bear with me 2 seconds. I found some copies of my self-published.
Right.
Notice the cheap cover, right? compared to the new fancy covers. The reason why that's one colour is because I had no idea. I didn't know what self-publishing was. I had no idea. I got turned down by every publisher. So I thought, somebody said, Elizabeth, as my partner, actually says, you can self-publish, you can do it, it's a great book. I went ahead, and when I started looking into all the costs, it turned out that it was much cheaper to get a single cover, a single colour, than get lots of colours. And it's these kind of decisions that you never imagine you've got to make. And that's why I think I love what you do with the indie authors, because you give people that guidance and support. Because a lot of people, when you think of what self-publishing is and you think seems it's such a big thing and you don't know what you're doing, I had to do it because I had such a strong dream and belief, but you give people that assistance that if it wasn't for what you do, there's so many books we just never get out there, and it gives people belief in themselves when they turn in a book, and with that bit of assistance, they finally feel, look what I did, I managed to do it.
Yeah. And it's amazing for us that all of this, our business would not exist, and we've talked about this before. Had our son not died, I mean, that's the sad thing, is that if Callum hadn't died, Sinclair, I don't think my husband, I don't think he would actually have finished that first book. He's written lots of things already, but he'd never finished a book, and that was the gumption, that was the thing that really got it going. And then people asked us for help, and it's just snowballed into this accidental business that we've now been able to, I think, hopefully give back to other people, like you say, an opportunity to get their books out there. And this way of us doing this kindness challenge is a way of us being able to give back, even stepping up that bit further as well. So people will be able to go and check out more on that on our website and on our Facebook page. But I wanted to come back and pick up, because I'm not just happy at us doing acts of kindness for 7 days, and we'll be sharing what we're doing and the impact that has. I know that one of them has to be anonymous, so we won't share what happens with that one. But it is about this notion that business is being kind, and generally, can make such a difference. And I was a previous HR manager. I was the human resources manager in a past life. Kindness and happiness are not terms that are bandied out about a lot in business. But as you said, it is so important.
I know. It's because, sometimes you can even soften the word or swap the word kindness for helpfulness or helpful behaviour. Scientists call it pro-social behaviour. We science it up too much, I think. Damn it, kindness, But if you prefer the word helpfulness, then it's an absolute no-brainer. If you've got a company, and let's say there's even 50 employees in that company, and some people make it their purpose, a big part of their day, to help other people, then the company solves its problems faster. The company internally solves its problem. People are happier because they feel they're being helped and not criticised. They're being helped instead. Someone's maybe struggling in their job. Rather than criticising them for the bad job they're doing, help them, understand the difficulties they're going through in their life and help them, and then everyone wins. Yeah. And you don't even need science to tell you what that does to the bottom line in a company. You don't need that, but if you really needed it, that does actually impact the bottom line. In fact, there was a study that looked at 57,000 customers over 18 months in a retail chain and found that for every 1 point increase in happiness in the management, which can be induced through kindness, it led to a difference in customer spending of £2 or £3 per person per visit to the shop over 18 months. Yeah. I mean, that's extraordinary.
Yeah. So if anybody's thinking out there, why should I be kind to my business? It's actually, you can actually earn more money, and the more money you earn, the more sales that you make, you can actually go out there and have an impact and do something else, with that too.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, employees come to work. You want to enjoy your job. It's a big part of your life. And if you feel supported through people helping you, and also at the same time, you're helping others to make them feel supported, then it's got to be a winner. For a business, it has to be a winner for a business.
And for small businesses that are out there, you might think, I don't have any employees. But again, the impact that you can have if you just, step out that wee bit further about how kind you can be, you can help other small businesses. You can connect and do stuff in partnership with other people. You can recommend other businesses. We do that all the time. We work alongside other folk that we know they do a good job, recommend them. So there's so many ways that people potentially could be kind. And that's what our challenge as well is, really. We want to kind of put that challenge out to other business owners out there. Think about doing your own 7-day kindness challenge, not just even for your bottom line sake, but if you need it, then fine. If that's what's going to get you moving, then fantastic, use that. But think of the good that you could do. And all these other benefits you're going to have, all these other side effects, you're actually going to be healthier as well. So,
in fact, one of the within the 5 side effects, within the first side effect, the happiness one, there's tons of research that shows that kindness and stress they're called, there's an inverse relationship. And a study led by a prominent psychologist tracked people over a fortnight, and they were to note down every hour. You can set your phone, the researchers would text them every hour. How do you feel? What's been happening in this last hour? And they were to note down all the times they felt stressed in the 2 weeks and all the times they did something, they were helpful to someone. And what they found, complete this inverse relationship, that as acts of kindness increased throughout the day or the week, stress came down. And when stress was going up, at the same time, their acts of kindness was coming down. And so they predicted that if someone just increased their helpful behaviour in any one day or any 1 week, then the stress begins to come down. Now, how much of a bill does stress cause businesses these days?
Yeah. Huge. So we could quite easily kind of chat on all day and tell them all the wonderful benefits. What I want to do is just get people taking action.
Yeah.
So and the beautiful thing is, if anybody's struggling with what they should do, go and read David's book, because there's, as well as obviously his whole side effects that, what you can do, there are lots of tips in there about, what sort of acts of kindness that you can do from something really simple. So please, go and check it out. His 7-day kindness challenge is in there.
Do you want me to give them the guidelines for the 7-day kindness challenge?
Yes, go on then. Yeah, tell them what they need to do. Yeah.
So a couple of guidelines. You have to do a different act every day, right? So, for example, if you, let's say, made someone a cup of tea today, you can still make someone a cup of tea tomorrow, but it doesn't count as your 7. right? So you've got to make, there've got to be 7 different things, but it doesn't mean you can't make a cup of tea tomorrow. It just doesn't count as your act of kindness. So you've got to be something different every day. At least one of them has to be an anonymous act, right? Anonymous meaning that you don't get to tell anyone what you did. You don't say, oh, I did that little thing, I helped her across the road, it was so nice. You don't get to tell. You've got to take your ego right out of it altogether. And the other one is try to push yourself out your comfort zone at least once. Now, that isn't, and you don't need to 100% do that, but it's useful for your own experience to watch what happens if you just stretch yourself a little bit, just push yourself a little out your comfort zone in doing one of your acts of kindness, right? So that's the ground rules. You know, it's not set in stone, but yep. That's how you get the most out of it.
Yeah. So thank you so much, David. That's been really, really, really informative. Great to connect with you on here as well. So there you go. You've heard it, folks. 7 days. That's all it takes, you know, just to get things started. And then you might find that you just love it so much, you're just going to keep going and keep going. But we'll be sharing some of our journey again about what we've been doing, and just hopefully encouraging you to kind of get involved. So please come and check out our Facebook page, Indie Authors World, or on our website, indieauthorsworld.com, if you want to nominate someone to get their book published. And thank you so much, David. Have a fabulous day. I know you're such a busy man and you've got to run off to meetings. So can I say, just it's been a pleasure as always to see you here, and wish you all success with this book and everything that you're going to be doing in the future. So thank you very much for coming along, David. It's been a joy.
Thanks. I've really enjoyed having the chat with you.
Okay, right. Have fun. Right, see you later.
Have a nice day.